Hello, everybody. I hope that you all are doing well. I'm excited to be here, and I want to know a little bit more about you. So please, while you're in the chat, because I am going to talk, you have to talk back with me. Let me know where you're hailing from. If you're from Georgia, from Indiana, California, wherever you are from, let's talk. Oh, hello from Iowa. Thank you, Sarah, for joining us on today. Let us get into it. Oh, hello, Miss Tamika from Florida. Florida is in the building, and Dallas is in the building. I'm definitely loving this. I'm loving this. Well, one of the things that I want to inform you as an early childhood educator, I am a classroom component. I definitely love building the classrooms. They are still coming in. Hey, Brianna. Hey, girl. Corpus Christi, Colorado. Everybody is just joining in. I'm glad y'all are here. So, some of you that are here, you already know that as with anything that I'm going to do with you, we are definitely going to sing. We're definitely going to make sure that everybody is comfortable. And this is one of the things that I always share. And this is how the early childhood educator circle time came about during the pandemic, where we were all sitting at home and I'm trying to figure out, what am I going to do? How am I, though the center is closed, how am I going to still interact with others? How am I going to show up? And so as I began to do other avenues, I was being a ECE Zumbini with Miss Melody. I was doing a lot of that. I ran across this app called Clubhouse. And in the Clubhouse is a social audio app, and it's like going in or calling into a live radio session. And I began to go into the child care rooms, and I was still wondering, how can I fit in? Where can I make a difference? What can I do as an early childhood educator that I can still feel fulfilled? And what I end up doing was saying, we're going to have circle time. And today you are going to have circle time with me. One of the purposes of circle time is building a community. That's where we're inviting the children to come in, and we have lesson plans and we have ideas. We are expressing our emotions and our feelings. But the biggest thing about circle time is building community. And in the midst of building that community, even then, I had my lesson plan, that I information that I was going to share. I had my book. I was ready to read, and I had my song. I even had some of those activities that we would do that would either be kinesthetic, auditory, and also one of my favorites, visual, because we know that everyone, children, learn through auditory. Some of them, sometimes you can say something to them and they get it. Then you have those visual learners that will see it and they get it. And then you have those other learners that may be sitting right there with you in circle time, and eyes are everywhere. And you're wondering if they're paying attention. But when you ask them a question, they're there with you. And we also, as early childhood educators, have to understand that those same things that we are teaching, we have these moments in where we have to be a part of that and recognize our own level and way of teaching. And just as we're looking to reach out to those children, we have to be present. And today I'm going to be talking about being present, about how building community through accreditation standards help build this platform, because as Mariah stated, I am a friend of NECBA. I'm a friend of many organizations. As a national accreditation specialist, I've helped programs become a part of over 3 different bodies. We all know that there are a total of 8 different national accreditation bodies, but I will say to you transparently, and I stand 10 toes down on this, that yes, I am the number one fan of the National Early Childhood Program Accreditation. And I stand on that because during that time, of the pandemic, where I was trying to figure out how can I make a difference, I began to meet a lot of different early childhood educators that are business owners, and some business owners that did not have the experience or the education that I had when it comes to early childhood education. For over 20 years, I've worked as a substitute. I worked as an assistant, a teacher, lead teacher, program director, uh, executive director, licensing consultant, also working as a quality advisor. But one thing that never changes with my positions is always having servitude. And in this industry of providing service, just as it is with other industries, there are standards and ethics and codes that we have to hold ourselves to. And when I created that room on the Clubhouse app, and I said, we're going to do this ECE Circle Time, and I'm going to invite everybody in to have this experience with me, that regardless of your position, even if you're just a parent or an advocate, you will still feel that what we're doing and what we're providing is the best service. And using standards, regardless of the national accreditation body, regardless of whether or not you are a ministry, a center, whether you are a university-based childcare, Head Start, early Head Start, any type of program, there are certain standards and codes of ethics that we should all hold to. And when I began in this industry years ago, because I said I'm going to stand 10 toes down on it, I, like many people, came into it haphazardly. I had not finished my education, but I still wanted to be a teacher. I wasn't about to finish my education. At that time, I wasn't focused. Life was lifing. But the day that I came into the early childhood setting, and as a substitute teacher, I thought my life was over. Because I said, well, what's going on? All of these children running around, these screams, these laughter, these cries. But when I said, hey, this is where I belong, there was nothing that I could do to stop me from wanting to make sure that the children that were in my care or in my auspices, even as a director, that they were impacted. But understanding that lots of people do not know what early childhood is. They think that we just take care of the babies. But using standards as a way, as a structure, as a foundation helps us to say, not only are we doing this business, we're providing this service because we care. And when you find that organization that is in alignment with your thoughts, your philosophy, your mission, it becomes easier. And which is one of the reasons that even though I've helped programs to become accredited in over 3+ organizations, the thing that I fell in love with when it came to NECMA is understanding that there were a group of directors, a group of owners that said, hey, we need to do something to be represented within this community, and so that we can hold each other accountable, because this is the basis of the National Early Childhood Program accreditation. And so as I was sitting there and saying, the people that were coming on Clubhouse, they don't have the experience that I have, but they still need the knowledge. How can I build that gap? And so it comes to the point that as you are serving and as you are putting yourself in position to win, you are always within alignment. In other industries like psychology, you have the American Psychology Association. Okay, all right. I need somebody to talk back to me in the chat, Miss Mariah. Are they still here? Am I by myself?
Nope, still here.
Still had somebody come out to chat and say, Miss Melody, you're not by yourself, because I don't see you. I only see my screen. But I feel you, and that's what I want to feel you. So you have the industries like the psychology, they look up to the American Psychological Association. If you were a pediatrician, the things in the scholarly books that you would look after and that you would take in that helps navigate would be the APA, American Pediatrics Association. Now, only acronyms that I know and I like is NCCA, ECPA, NAEYC, and all of the rest of the acronyms. I'm a part of the alignment with all of that. And so as we move forward and as we're looking at how do we, at that time, how do I set a place that everybody feels safe? It's just as if we're in the classroom, taking everyone from I'm looking at your individual, developmentally appropriate, your milestones, where you should be, to saying, hey, we're standing in solidarity. Those who come into the industry, just as I did 20 years ago, I didn't have a CDA. I didn't have a technical certificate of credit, but I had heart. And sometimes we may, because of the minimum standards, let me talk to somebody. Look straight ahead, even if you're on a Zoom, so won't nobody know I'm talking about you. Some of us do the minimum standards, and I'll be very transparent. I have always had an issue with the minimum standards. Once I realized that I could be better, that I could do better, and that there was a way to get to better. And that national accreditation was that avenue, that vehicle to where, regardless of where I moved, as an ECE gypsy, no offense, but just moving around, that the standards I could follow, whether they were in Georgia, whether they were in Colorado, whether they were in New York or anywhere else, that as I moved, there were those who believed what I believed. And if they didn't believe what I believed, it was one because they had the lack of knowledge. Either they rejected it or they did not know about it. And wherever I aligned and who I aligned myself to, there had to be this particular knowledge. So within building that community within the people of your programs, of your coalition, of those who you know, even within your own organization, as I stated to you earlier, as we're moving, we have to decide what fits best with what I believe, my psychology, my mission. What can I get behind? Regardless of the name or the title of the organization body, where am I feeling that this will help benefit my business so that we cannot just stand on, oh, we do this practice because Miss Melody said it, or oh, we do this practice because this is what the owner said. But instead, you can say that we do this practice because we are a part of this national organization, and these are some of the standards that we follow. Even when your own state standards may be higher than your national accreditation standards. So that preparation of saying, where is it that I want to go? What is it that I want to do? And then preparing for your verification or your validation visit, giving everybody the resources and the tools, as we say, not gatekeeping, not gatekeeping. There is no one in our industry or no one organization or no particular position that is better than the other. And that is what we all have to embrace. But we have to have these ontological moments and understand that we're still breathing the same air that the dinosaurs breathed. We're still drinking the same water, though it has migrated and shifted. And so when we realize that we all play a part, preparing for that verification, ensuring that the bus driver understands the standards, ensuring that the receptionist understands the standards, not only just within their position, not only just with what they do, but having a respect for what everyone does. And that verification process, including everyone, where most may say, well, I don't need it. My people don't know about it. Well, your people may not know about it because you haven't told them about it. And then coming to the point where is, if I don't know about it, let me find the sources and go to the preparation stage. Let me take that time out for a self-assessment study. Let me, depending on this organization, if there's a 6-month waiting period, let me prepare myself within that 6-month waiting period. Because who I am, when I show up every day, as my 3 C's: comfortable, confident, and competent, then I can make a difference. The world at this moment may not really understand and embrace early childhood and education and care as we may want them to. But are we prepared to say that this is who we are and this is what we do? And then as you're going through that preparation and that verification process, accepting that there has to be a transformation, that it can't be we're doing it for this day or for this window period. But within building that community, within building and having SWOT analysis of this is who we are as an organization, and this is how we can get into alignment with this particular organization, and being that competent and saying that this is who I am. I'm an early childhood educator. I'm a certified child care professional. And what I do is I help build the foundation for those who are moving. So when you're using the national accreditation standards as a vehicle to get you from good but to better, then that transformation has set in, and we celebrate because now you have this national accreditation. And yes, it is a big deal. And you have to walk and express and talk and believe in every part of your operation. And I always tell people that there are high quality programs that are not nationally accredited. I'll say that again. There are high quality programs that are not nationally accredited. And our expectation is for every program that is nationally accredited, that they are of high quality. And I say that to say that even though you go through your national accreditation process successfully and with ease, children are still going to be children. Parents are going to parent, and staff will be staffing if you do not make it a part of who you are. If you don't understand that one day there may be an incident, and not be ashamed to say, oh, okay, well, we dropped the ball. Let's get on it. But in that moment when they're there, that's you putting on your pride and joy and still yet operating as a normal day, because we are true to this, not new to this. So, but here's the truth. I'm going to read this to you. Again, that certification, that certificate, it isn't the end. It's the beginning. And it's a deeper journey, and where quality becomes the culture. Because we're not new to this, we're true to this. The validation, the verification visit is saying and giving the observer and the national accreditation body to say, at a snap picture in this time, they were doing the best that they could with the best that they have. And you know what? Let's do it. Signed, sealed, and delivered. So, with holding that space, and one of the reasons why we at ECE Circle Time, the Early Childhood Educator Circle Time, have been able to help more than 50 programs have that seal and have that deal is because of me, how I view myself, and knowing that I'm a reflection of the person who is across from me. And so I know that I need people to hold space for me. And so I'm going to hold space for them. I know that when we look at our pedagogies and we look at our philosophies and when we look at our mission, they can be working. What we feel today may not be the same as what we're doing years from now. For those who may have been a PhD, you may now have an experience to say, okay, well, no, I really think the Reggio Emilia inspired. Well, no, this year I think creative curriculum is going to help us. Well, no, I think we need to switch to this type of app. That opportunity to allow people to say or ask, what's working for you in your center? Or what works for you in your classroom? What works for you as a professional, a health consultant? What works for you as a psychologist that comes in? What works for you as a home-based visitor? What works for you? And holding that space and withholding that community, just as it is within circle time, give us all the opportunity to see one another, to be there with one another, and to exchange information and energy. It's this one book that has been written and transcribed and sold so many times. And in this one portion, this one chapter of a book that's been written and sold so many times, this one chapter is called the Book of Acts, Acts, the Book of Acts. And in this book, this little small parable part of that book, they talk about how the people were doing service. And at one point in time, there was this couple that were a part of the community, and they decided to not help the community. Let me see if I think I remember the characters. Ananias and Sapphira, something like that. I think I might be wrong. I've been wrong before. Today won't be the first time, but I've been wrong before. But about this particular couple, stay with me now so you can understand the story. When it was time for everybody to come as they would normally do, they had their own circle time where everybody would bring their talents and their gifts. The couple decided not to bring all of their gifts. And what they did was they withheld some of their gifts. And then unfortunately, their lineage, it went to toast right then and there. And I share that to say that when we're holding space, there is no withholding. We posture and position ourselves to look at and understand everybody, and that everybody has a part. So with holding space, whether there is a meeting, whether there's a one-on-one, whether there's a virtual session, we hold space and we allow people to breathe and understand. Because sometimes that is what it is. Sometimes you go to circle time and you have to read the same book for 2 weeks straight. Not because they really like it, but because they may like the way that you read it. One day you may go to circle time and you have 3, 4 books. And then there are days where, you just might not have circle time. But when you do, you're inviting everybody there. You're inviting everybody in. And as it is with creating communities and using the national accreditation standards within your business, not just as leaders, because I'm talking to leaders right now. I'm talking to you. Whereas you don't come with your agenda. We talk about the art of war. You're not coming with your agenda, but you're coming to hear the pulse of the people. You're coming to allow them to share with you how they see and feel about you. And understanding where you have that meeting and saying, hey, we want to go to another level. And this is where we're going. What do you think are some obstacles? Like having a KWL, what we know, what we want to know, what we learn. As I told you, in everything that we do, there's always levels and a capacity of the things that you do within the classroom with the children that you can get in turn do with one another. So having a SWOT analysis is the same as having a KWL in the classroom. When you tell your people, say, hey, we want to go through national accreditation, what do you know? And if they look and they sit there like crickets, then now we know that we need to be talking about that particular thing. So when you're holding space and you're not withholding information, that gives everybody the opportunity to get on one accord. And that was all that we done. In the midst, from the beginning of ECE Circle Time, from 2022, where we said, okay, we're going to give the standards and we're going to help people reach them. That's over 50 organizations that have earned national accreditation standards, regardless of the body. And even in the midst of becoming nationally accredited. There are over 35 people that have received their certified child care professional credentials and or their CDA and or 21 college credit hours because of partnership, because of not holding space, because of those 3 C's, wanting to make sure that people are competent, confident, competent, confident. Uh-oh, I messed up on the C, but you know exactly what we have to do. So when we're moving forward and you're holding space, one of the things that I used to do, and I would encourage others to do, such as when we're having staff orientation or parent orientation, what I learned when I was a Head Start director was tapping into the skills and the gifts and the ability of the people. So these people that you see on this screen, these were people that would come to ECE Circle Time to listen to me, talk to them, to pour into them. But I knew that there's something that within each and every one of you that you can pour back into us. And so as if with having parent orientation, you ask your parents, well, what is it that you do? Oh, I work at the tire shop. Couldn't be me here hearing that you work at the tire shop. Because now I want to have a conversation and I'm going to build and extend the olive branch to you and your supervisor. Because I've been noticing that every day, Tommy likes to go and ram the trucks over to one another. Well, in Tommy's mind, as an early childhood educator, I know that he likes trucks and cars. And so I'm going to, even though this is not Tommy's dad, have Tommy's dad bring in some mechanical opportunities, some skills, an in-house field trip, and or make a field trip. That's when I say don't withhold, but when we tap into what everybody else has, like that story I told you about in that book that has been written and sold so many times. And it's a chapter in that book called the Books of Acts. And it was 2 people within the community that did not bring forth to the storehouse for everybody to eat, and they dissipated. This is where you, as the person who may be the leader, have to begin to and put yourself in a position to listen and asking, what are your skill sets? What are your talents? What did you like to do? Because who would have known, even though they come to listen to me, we have a person who comes and he's the spearhead of a fatherhood initiative. We have a person such as Miss Anissa who comes, who's in another country, who's doing her own things, but then comes back and forth because within this community now we're networking. We have people that, just as it was with Cindy, who was an executive director of a facility and opened up, but she had a passion of helping people. And so not only is she an early childhood educator, she's a life coach. And so she begins to talk to those about how her accreditation process was, but how in working with partnership with ECE Circle Time and what she did made this beautiful community. Everybody, there's a litany of people who bring something different to the table. But the commonality that we have is these are the standards. And so the commonality for ECE Circle Time is that we came to uplift, network, and inspire. Those were part of our mission. Those were part of our vision. Those were part of our values. So not leaving that, so that becomes a part of the culture. And so not only are we supporting the children in which we serve, we are supporting one another. See, holding spaces has everything to do with who we are, what we build, the conversations, the just showing up. And even if it was, hey, you come up to the stage, what do you want to talk about? The same as in the classroom, allowing the children the opportunity to express themselves. And you're reading the book, and Johnny asks a question that has nothing to do with the book, but you stop and you pause. And so then that's how you have to look at it on a different level. That because you stop and you allow Johnny to express himself, you've now created a space of empathetic listeners. You now created an opportunity where now Sarah, who's in circle time, will reach out to Johnny, and now they have connected. You have to understand that within holding space, the leader, the visionary, or whoever, we have to have this ambition of what it is that we want to do, but ensuring that others who come along with us are ready. Because we say, for those who know about that book that has been written, sold so many times, you go to this particular place and they say, come as you are. You can show up on Sunday wearing your Sunday's best or come and look in a mess. But at the end of that service, you should not be the same. And so as you're holding space, we're understanding that as we are accepting those and we're telling them with the national accreditation standards, if we're using that this is what we expect. And whether it takes you 6 months, 3 months, or 6 years to become nationally accredited, we're going to be there with you because it's about connection and not correction. So when we think about teachers withholding space, especially with accreditation, they are the core of what makes the difference. You can turn in paperwork later, but what you can't turn in later is that teacher-child interaction. What you can't turn in later, even if you had to do a survey, things happen. I'm going to be very transparent with you. Not every accreditation visit is always going to end with superstars and fireworks. Some people, children, we are who we are. But when we look at what we can bring and what we can do and what we can be, we position that process and that experience different. With creating space, there's a litany of programs that we've helped, litany of information that we built, and understanding that there are people that we serve that you may never know that we served because they're different clauses, but everybody still came for the same reason. This building the resources and the materials of what works best. Just because I have 20 plus years of education in several different degrees doesn't mean that I talk down or at the person who has just came into this industry. It is with love and kindness that we draw. So through the phase, when we're helping them go from we're just doing the minimum standards, or we are at the highest level of our quality rating and improvement system for our state, but we want to be nationally accredited, then we go through this process of what does the education look like? Show us what you have. Let us do the formal education for you and for others so that then we know what is best within alignment. Because whatever organization you choose, that's on you. But just as it was with NECPA, and one of the things that I love about it is that there were the owners and the directors that came years ago and said, this is some things that we need to do. And then they brought other people in to help fulfill the vision. And so now we are here 30 plus, almost 40 years later, still writing the vision and making it plain. So with creating those spaces, it is about the connection. It is about understanding this is where we are and this is where we need to be. And then how we're going to sustain it. Not only do we help them earn or obtain it, but we help them maintain it. What we do and how you show up for the community has to be a consistent process. It has to have that level of discipline that even though all HE double hockey sticks are breaking loose, I'm still going to make sure that this building is open. I'm still going to do what I need to do because I'm called. And so then when we go into that SWOT analysis, well, what worked when we were with this facility? What didn't work? Okay, well, how can we make sure that those who are accredited in 2022 are able to maintain? So we keep that open relationship and provide different trainings, whether they are in person or whether they are virtual. But we never stop meeting the needs of the community so that we can continue to attract more and delegate how it happens. And then that delegation becomes the ripple effect where now the teacher has gotten better and she's feeling confident, competent, and courageous, making 4 C's. Now we see the difference within the classroom, whether or not they received something a couple of days ago or they're just experiencing something new for the day. We begin to hear and see the difference in the children and the teachers. The teacher child conversation changes, the quality of their feedback enhances, the way that they have a regard for their perspective is great. Their emotional connection then begins to be better. The instructional support begins to be better because then they take it off of I'm the teacher and this is what I want to teach to now that they're connected because they remember Tommy every day in the block center keeps ramming those cars and we have rules and we tell them what to do. But now I know a parent that's an auto mechanic that would want to in turn give back to the center. And so then we have program instruction and quality support going up. And now we have families that are involved that, yes, I brought something from my job, my skill, my talent. Oh, I like to do hair. And now I'm teaching a class at my child's center. Regardless of if you are a for profit or non for profit, people want to feel a part and involved. And if we're going to set the standards and the precedents of that early childhood education is important, you start your own micro PTA example, regardless of if it's profit or nonprofit. You want your business to grow, then your business it's not only can scale through social media, but I would like more to get the same or better. So I would like that great customer to now go tell their friend. Because when you have a solid program and it's really good, people will drive 45 minutes out the way because they want their children at your program. Then now the community looks different because you've taken your national accreditation standards and you're saying, oh, I need to check the playground before the children go outside. Oh, I need to have a health and safety inspector to come. Oh, wait a minute. I need to have a maintenance log. You know what? Every September, this has happened. Oh, now we have proof that maybe we need to do something different. Using your standards and building that community and educating everyone causes that effect to where we all become better. Because it's more than just the checklist, but the checklists are used as a reminder that, hey, we still need to every 21 days do this. Not only, yes, it may feel cumbersome. Oh, I have to follow my state standards and now I got to do the quality rating and improvement system. And I still have to turn in the paperwork for the food program. And yes, you do. And yes, you should. And yes, you can. And yes, you will. If you will to do that. If you will to be the best on your block. If you will to want to ensure that those that are within your circle know that your center, your facility, your classroom, your space is the best, yes, you will. And you will find a way or you will make one because it is about a commitment. And that, at the end of the day, is really the difference between having standards, following standards, and living them out. So I want to stop for a second. Let me see what everybody has been saying. We can take a moment to read this, but I hadn't seen your comments, so I just wanted to talk. Okay. Is this good? Oh, y'all don't want to talk to me.
No,
I don't want
maybe we should ask some questions and see
to.
what's going on.
Okay.
Should we
So
do a poll?
oh, I see you, Miss Jackie, Miss Strong. She's in the building. Yes, Little Ducklings 1 and 2, y'all. That was one of the programs that we supported. Yes, doing a wonderful, wonderful program. That's right. You're not by yourself. ECE Gypsy. So before we go any further, please, the floor is open for you to ask questions. Ask about ECE Circle Time. Ask about whatever you want. And also, you're able to connect with me. I'll make sure I put my information in the chat and you'll have a copy of this too. So let's think about it. As we're reflecting and as we're moving forward, I work with preschoolers, not too much on how the T is not next to the engagement. Don't do that. The babies can't read, they can feel me. So thinking about it, which part of your journey are you in with your staff? And where do you need the most support? Are you holding space, especially using accreditation as a way to network and connect with others? Are you creating the space, building the systems, seeing how you can put your team in alignment, making it fun and energetic? Not only are you becoming nationally accredited, but helping them to understand that they are changing, and or are you sustaining space? Have you keeping what you got, keeping hope alive? Let's see. Okay. Oh, thank you, Brianna. She said, I just want to give Miss Melody her flowers. She's amazing. And when she came to my old center, she was nothing but amazing. Thank you so much. I honor you for that. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you, Miss Maria. Okay. Well, I think we can pause for the calls. And as we pause for the calls, I want to see each and every one of y'all in March. I don't know if I was supposed to say that, but I want to see everybody that was here in March. I'm gonna screenshot this and I'm going to be looking for you. I'm done. Thank you. Thank you.
Oh,
Thank you,
all
everyone.
good. Okay, well, let's strike the band back up and see if anybody has anything else that they would like to say today to Miss Melody. Let me see. I'll be there. How about everyone else? Oh, well, since you started, you began that. I actually have something I can share. So let me turn my screen over. I didn't realize that you were almost done. Let me.
Yeah, they didn't want to talk to me. They just said they came to listen to the choir. They came to listen to the choir today. That's all.
So, Miss Melody said, she will be in Memphis. We are having our biannual leadership event in Memphis at the Peabody Hotel, March 19th through the 21st. If you have not yet gotten your tickets, please do so. I dropped the link in the chat, and it's also here in the QR code. We do have Miss Cindy Morgan as well, who will be there, and Miss Melody will be one of our speakers, and so will Cindy. Cindy will also have a booth there, so with One Place. So please be sure to stop by. And it's going to be an amazing leadership event. We did one last year in Austin, Texas. Miss Melody was there as well, and so we're looking for another great time. And if you know anything about the Peabody Ducks, you know it's going to be really, really great. You're going to get an opportunity to possibly be a duck master, so I feel like it's kind of a no-brainer. Um, if anyone has any additional questions for Miss Melody, please drop them in the chat. And Miss Melody, did you already put your contact information? Because,
I'm sorry, I was over here being nosy. I was being nosy. I can't wait to see you, Brianna. She's gonna be there, and
oh,
then
yay,
Cindy's
Brianna.
gonna be there, and Little Ducklings. They are getting ready to have their re-accreditation visit. They got
Amazing.
accredited in 2022, and now they are about to do it again. That's what I'm talking
Yeah.
about. I can't wait to come. They invited me back out. I guess I went so bad. So I'm putting my information in here, right?
Yeah. And then we will include that in the follow-up as well. As soon as the call completes, today's session completes, the link for the survey will be popped up. It'll also be included in the follow-up email that goes out to everyone with the recording. And Miss Melody, did you want to share any resources? If there's any resources you want to share, you can give them to me and then I'll get them over to everybody else. So.
Well, yes, most definitely. I know that we are all here everybody's on that continuum for quality. So I definitely, you guys can have this information and we can talk about how building and sustaining that community definitely will make a difference, whether you create a coalition within your area or whether or not you just have a few people you definitely want to build even within and bring some people with you to Memphis.
Yes, exactly, please. Oh, yeah, she dropped it. Oh, let me drop it again in the chat,
Okay.
the your information. There we go. Thank you, Cindy. All right. Well, thank you so much again, Melody. We appreciate you every single time that you're here. Thank you for sharing your wisdom. And we know how much you love building community and just keeping it going. And you're doing a phenomenal job. So thank you. Thank you for everyone who joined us live today. And we'll see you in the next one.
Yes, everybody.